Good morning. Thank you all for coming here today. My name is David Dasharath Kalal. I'm the Director of Communications for Hindus for Human Rights, an organization founded in 2019 to mobilize progressive Hindus and their allies and to provide a Hindu voice of resistance to caste, to Islamophobia, and to Hindu supremacy. As we stand here today on the threshold of New York City's 42nd annual India Day Parade, it is imperative that we revisit and foreground the values of decolonization and secularism that fuel the Indian independence movement. Unfortunately, the Indian Consulate of New York, in collaboration with the Vishwa Parishad of America, or the VHP-A, has chosen a different path. They plan to feature a recreation of Ayodhya's Mandir as the centerpiece float in this year's parade. Let us be clear. This Mandir, a temple erected over the ruins of the Babri Masjid, centuries-old mosque destroyed by Hindu extremists in 1992, has long been weaponized as a symbol of power by global forces of Hindu nationalism. It is a symbol that should not and cannot be conflated with Indian identity. The VHP-A, the American wing of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, is an organization with deep ties to Hindu supremacism. The VHP has been directly implicated in numerous cases of deadly violence against Indian minorities. Together, these organizations form part of a transnational network whose explicit goal is to extend right-wing Raminical vision of Hinduism, one that relies on the subjugation of religious minorities, Dalits, Adivasis, and other marginalized groups. Hindu nationalism, or Hindutva, is not a benign cultural movement. It is a political project designed to legitimize a vision of India that is fundamentally at odds with the Indian Constitution and the principles of pluralistic democracy. The inclusion of the Ram Mandir float in this year's parade is not a celebration of cultural pride, but a glorification of both a violent history and a violent ambition. It is a display that should be condemned by all who value justice and human dignity. This is a disturbing trend, one that concerns not only New Yorkers, but all Americans. The Hindu supremacist movement in the United States, represented by groups like the VHP-A, is increasingly converging with other segments of the American far right. Given the growing political activity and influence of Indian Americans, the debate within our communities have broader implications for American society as a whole. As members of the diaspora, and particularly as progressive Hindus, we have a responsibility. We must use our platform to advocate for a vision of India that is inclusive, tolerant, and reflective of the diversity that defines both India and the United States. The VHP-A and similar organizations do not speak for all Hindus, nor do they speak for all Indian Americans. The vast majority of us, regardless of faith, seek peaceful and respectful relationships between communities. We reject the extremist views of those who would divide us, and instead we embrace a vision of both India and the Indian American community that honors the bonds of friendship and family that have long united our diverse communities. The political landscape in India is shifting, with the current regime facing increased opposition. Indian Americans have a unique opportunity to support the growing resistance to hate and division. By standing against the hateful displays planned for this year's parade, we can offer an alternate vision. To this end, Hindus for Human Rights demands the removal of the Ram Mandir float from the 2024 India Day Parade. We stand firmly against symbols of hate and division. The India Day Parade should be a celebration of the richness and diversity that defines our community, not a platform for a message that excludes and marginalizes. We urge our elected officials and community leaders to join us in condemning this brazen display of far-right nationalism. Let us reclaim the spirit of the India Day Parade, one that honors our shared heritage, embraces our diversity, and stands as a beacon of unity. Let us march together, not in the shadows of division, but in the light of hope, inclusivity, and mutual respect. Thank you.